guys, Violet Lufkin here with Violet Lufkin Photography. So I just made a tutorial on how to do upcycled newborn pants, and we videoed me sewing upside down. So I thought I'd do another one real quick. I'm not sure if I'm going to post the other one or not, maybe just as a joke. But, so here's the second set I'm going to do. So this was a sweater I got at a garage sale, more than likely free, because the back side has been severely damaged by moths, probably. And so that, unfortunately, will probably just be thrown away, or maybe I can salvage a couple pieces to make hats out of. But we're going to use this front part. And these sleeves could possibly be used for hats. I'll have to check them later to see if they're wide enough. But this is how I do pants. I am a pretty lazy sewer, and I don't like to take a lot of time with it. I don't measure things very well, or I don't measure. So I'm going to show you a quick measurement. These are a pair of pants that I made. They're actually the first pair I made, and they fit perfect, so now I use it as my pattern. The pattern I used for these, I actually had a pair of pants from my son that were his when he was a newborn that I knew fit perfectly, so I used those as my first pattern. But if you don't happen to have that, let me show you the measurements here. So it comes to about 10.5, but I've got a pocket right here. So I would actually do about 11.5, possibly even 12 inch. And then coming over, you've got your seam allowance again. And so it comes to 8, but remember you need your seam allowance, so at least 8.5. And these measurements are all just kind of eyeballed. They're not perfect. So you can do whatever you feel comfortable with, but about 12 by 8.5 is a really good length. So I hear my baby crying, so let me do this super fast. So we've got my material here, and the way I do it is I just fold it over. So I only have to sew the one side. I've already got this side ready to go. So make sure you match up your folded side with the folded side. And I actually want this part as my top. So I'm going to put it like this and leave my hem here to fold over. So I've got my folded side and my folded side. You got to make sure you have those lined up so that your seam allowance is right, because here you don't need a seam allowance on this side, but you do on this side. So this leg is right now, before we sew it, is going to look smaller than this side. So here we are, all lined up. Super simple. We're just going to snip away at the bottom here. Flip it around. And make sure it's all lined up perfect. Make sure it's nice and flat. There we go. And then we need to cut our little rectangle here. Remember to leave your seam allowance. We'll do a little extra. Eek. Come on. Okay. So now we have our little pair of pants. Remember, one leg. Why is that leg bigger? Awesomeness. I have them switched right. I didn't leave as much seam allowance on this side. Alright, so I'm going to need to come in just a tiny bit to make sure these legs are nice and even. There we go. Okay. Hopefully they will be wide enough. So we'll need to have our seam allowance a tiny bit closer than I normally would like. But that's what we get when I'm doing a tutorial. Okay, so here we go. We've got our pants ready to go. Now we're just going to sew. We're going to sew on this side first, and then we'll come in, sew up, and around and down. And then we'll fold this over and do a little pocket for the drawstring. So let's hope I video it the right side up this time, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we're ready to sew. I've got my 6-year-old here holding the camera and my baby by my side. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so here's the pants. We've got them with right sides together, wrong side out. Okay, we're going to sew this part first. Careful, Ben. And then we're going to come up around the little legs. So, make sure you've got it. Can you see it good, Ben?
I can see it really good.
Okay, so we've got our seam allowance. There we go. So from start to finish, it takes me about 10 minutes to make a pair of pants. Some people will put pins in this to make sure it stays together. I am a super lazy sewer, so I don't. I just match it up and go. Go down the leg. A little back stitch. Okay, and now for inside the leg. Go with our seam allowance. Careful, baby. Back stitch there. Make sure that it's lined up really well. Make sure you're not zooming, Ben. We're getting close to the crotch here, ready to pivot. And pivot. And pivot. Make sure these are lined up. And then we're going to take the top and fold it over to make our little pocket. And I want it to be halfway down. Sometimes at this point, I will turn it the other way to make sure that I'm sewing in a super straight line. Ben, are you showing what I'm doing? No? Show what I'm doing. You don't want to see the... There we go. Okay, so I'm folding it right side out now, and I want to make sure I'm sewing right on this line. Then
I'm bored.
I'm almost done, sweetheart. You're doing a great job. You're a good cameraman. Make sure that you're not sewing the bottom part. Remember, you're sewing in a circle, so it's all connected at this point. Here we go, right on the line. Make sure that it's nice and even all the way around. Almost done, buddy. This is super fast. Go, we're going to pull it out. Nice and even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost done. Stitch. No, baby. And there you go. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to snip with my scissors right here and right here. Just a tiny little snip. And then I will thread my string. I'll probably use twine. Then show what I'm doing. I'll use twine and a safety pin to thread it all the way through. And there we go. We got our cute little pants. That's it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.